Looking like me was the goal in this. Looking like me, feeling like me, being me was the goal. Not being the most attractive man in the world. None of that was the goal. Just simply being me. Hey folks, it's Finn. Welcome back, lovely people. Thank you so much for checking out one of my videos today. If you're watching for the very first time, then a massive welcome. If you're a long time Finn fam member, person, that's what we call you around here, because I don't like the name subscriber, follower. It's weird, isn't it? Makes me sound like Jesus. And that's not what it's all about. No, well, this is a weird start to the video, isn't it? Scrap that. Hi. Welcome back, lovely people. I'm not even going to do a redo. Just going to say hi. Welcome to my channel. It's all a bit weird around here because I'm weird and I embrace weirdness. It's just good to be weird. Anyway, I digress. Hi. Oh, dear. So, it's June and it's Pride Month, which is wonderful. But let's just face it, you know, every day is Pride Day, really. For some of us, really should be Pride Day for all of us, because we should be celebrating the wonderfulness of diversity in this world every single day, because it's great that human beings are diverse. But the good thing about Pride Month is we get to see loads of wonderful diverse human beings all over our social media feeds, all through the streets of the UK in lots of lovely Pride events, and that's wonderful, and I'm all here for that. But as it's Pride Month, I thought it'd be really nice to do a bit of LGBTQ plus content. LGBTQ plus content, that was quite nice to say that, wasn't it? Because I haven't done any for a while, because it's all about the caravan at the moment for me. So I thought I'd do some different content this month for a change and try and get you some trans content. And something I've been wanting to talk about for a while that's been grating my cheese is the topic I want to talk about today, which is aging on testosterone. Now, I've had some comments, quite a few comments along these lines, that say something around testosterone's really aged me, I haven't aged well on testosterone, that, you know, I used to look really young and now I look really old, all of these kind of things. Now, I want to say first and foremost that it's not my general kind of viewers that say this. It tends to be people that, you know, it tends to be a lot of the trolls that say this, or it tends to be people that don't generally follow my channel and say this. I think it comes from kind of a bit of a nasty place a lot of the time. But of course, I want to address this because people kind of just popping into my channel to find out about trans folk might notice this, you know, because we look back at when I started my transition at the age of 37, and then when I started my testosterone at the age of 39, I do look remarkably young. So for people who look at me then and look at me now, might think, wow, you know, he has really aged. And there are so many myths and misconceptions around gender transition and testosterone therapy. There's a lot of bad press around, you know, testosterone does really bad things to you, that people might add 2 and 2 and get 27.5. You know, so it's something I really want to address, because it's really, really important to address this and knock any of these like myths on the head quickly. So let's address it, shall we? So I am now 50 years of age, okay? I was 37 when I came out as trans. I was 39 when I started taking testosterone. So I was 39 when I started taking testosterone. I'm now 50, right? That's 11 years. So I've aged. Okay? So I looked very young at the age of 39 when I started testosterone. This is me at the age of 39. And I did look very young. Now, this is something that's very, very common for trans men. We do tend to look very young. I think it's a combination that we generally look like very young boys, because we wear our hair kind of very short and plain when we very first come out. Obviously, you know, there's this kind of, especially from people that don't walk in trans circles and are not very good at gendering people. So for them, we might look very female to people who aren't familiar with trans men. So they just see a woman without any makeup with very boyish hair. So there's that kind of, they see us as a lesbian a lot of the time. So there's that kind of like, that look about us that you either see us as a very young looking boy or a very kind of plain woman. And makeup can age a woman and make them look older, and without we can look younger. So there's those kind of, all these different aspects going on that can make us look very young. We either look like a very young boy or a kind of very, very young woman. It's those kind of two aspects going on. So but either way, we look very young. And I did look very young for my age, even before I came out as trans, because I didn't wear makeup, you know, and all of those kind of things. Then when I came out as trans and I went very kind of androgynous looking, I looked like a very young boy, and it did my head in. A lot of the time, I spoke about this a lot, Howard, you know, at the age of 39, coming up to 40, and being treated like, you know, I was in my teens a lot of the time. It used to do my absolute head in. Drove me mad. And this is a common, if you watch loads of YouTube channels of of people early on in their gender transition, trans men early on in their transition, it's a common thing we talk about, how frustrating it is when we first come out, older trans men, and we're in our 30s and being treated like we're in our early 20s because we look so young. It's really common. And then what's also very common is as soon as we start going on testosterone, of course we then catch up with our age. So you've got two things going on here. If you're a young trans person, if you're in your 20s, you look like you're in your 20s, and then you take testosterone and you still end up looking like you're in your 20s, okay? If you're in your 30s and your 40s, you look young for your years, but then when you take testosterone, you catch up to your age. And that's what happened to me. Because I was heading into my 40s when I started my testosterone. So I went from looking like this very, very young boy to looking like a man my age. You know, so testosterone didn't age me, time did. You know, I am a 50-year-old man now, which is why I look 50, because I'm 50, you know. Testosterone just caught me up with being a middle-aged man, and that was always going to happen. It just took time, you know. So, and I'm pleased about that. It was doing my head in, going around being the age I am and not looking it, you know. One of the most gender affirming things for me in my testosterone gender transition journey has been finally looking not just like the man I know myself to be, but also an age appropriate man I know myself to be. As frustration as it's been to like have my hair recede and thin, that's also really gender affirming for me, because it's age appropriate, you know. The wrinkles I have are age appropriate, you know. The sagging bits are age appropriate, you know. So no, testosterone did not age me. Time did. The passing of time has aged me, not testosterone, you know. And it just makes me laugh when I see these comments, you know. Oh, you've aged so much. No, I haven't. Well, I have, but that's time, not testosterone. So yeah, I was never going to look like that young boy forever. I wasn't going to take testosterone and have my puberty start me at 20. You know, I wasn't going to suddenly go, oh, okay, I've started testosterone, I've started my puberty, so I'm going to go right back to being 20. You know, if you're in your 30s and 40s when you start testosterone, you're going to look that age. You're not going to then suddenly digress and go back to being 18, 19 again. Do you know what I mean? You're going to catch up to your years. It's not some magic elixir you're going to take that's actually going to take you back to your puberty. It's one of the things I've had to come to terms with, that, you know, I lost my chance of being a young male. You know, I've had to come to terms with the fact that because I transitioned late in life, I'm never going to get to be a young boy. You know, I transitioned straight into a middle-aged man, and I made lots of videos about, you know, grieving for the loss of my boyhood and having to come to terms with the fact that I would be transitioning straight into being a middle-aged man. And now, you know, that is something that, you know, I've learned to love, that I get to be that middle-aged man, you know. Thank goodness, because before transition, I was so depressed and in so much internal pain that I didn't think I was going to have a life whatsoever. Now I get the joy and privilege of growing old and grey and saggy and thinner and balder and aging. You know, I get to age. And for me, that's a privilege and a pleasure. And for goodness sake, transition wasn't about, you know, transitioning and being this young, gorgeous Adonis. You know, it's not about the outside. It's about the outside in terms of looking like a man, but it wasn't about being some kind of perfect Adonis of a man. It was about just being my version of a man and being free from the pain of dysphoria and having the simple privilege of growing older, aging and living my life. That's what it's about. You know, it's not about anything else. You know, I'm chubby, I'm older, I'm greyer. Great. Thank you. I get that. That's wonderful. You know, so who cares? And anyway, a lot of people say I don't look 50. So who cares? And I do look a bit haggard around the edges because I have a chronic illness. And I can't help that. And sometimes I look a bit more haggard than others. Who cares? So, you know, testosterone has not aged me. Time has. It's been 11 years, people. 11 years on testosterone. I'm not going to look 39 anymore because I'm now 50. And I'm not going to look like a young boy anymore because I've gone on testosterone and I've grown into the man I am, the age-appropriate man I am, because I'm not a young boy. I'm a 50-year-old man. That's why. So yes, people, if you go on testosterone and you're 20, when you've gone through your puberty, you will look like the 20-year-old person you are. If you go on testosterone at 40, you will go through your puberty and you will look 40. You're not going to go on testosterone at 40 and look 20. Okay? And if you go on testosterone at 20, you're not going to look 40. Testosterone is also not going to turn you into Peter Andre. You know? Your looks are your looks. You're not going to be this beautiful, gorgeous man just because you've taken testosterone. You're going to be you. You're going to be your version of you. And it's not about being gorgeous. It's just about being happy, which I am. So make all the comments you want about how I've aged, because do you know what? I'm glad I've aged. I'm happy I'm still on this planet and I'm getting to age. So there you go. That's my rant this week. My little bit of pride content for you this week. And this week's t-shirt brought to you for all things pride. Yes. I have no idea what next week's video is going to be. I'm off to Woofstock this weekend, people. We are taking the caravan just for 2 nights to our local doggy festival at Exeter, Powderham Castle. It's like tribute music and a doggy festival all in one. During the day, it's all about the dogs, dog agility, dog competitions, painting with dogs. It's going to be amazing with me and Pip. He's out for a walk today. And then we've got some tribute music in the evening. It's going to be so much fun. So I will be filming that and I'll get you that. But I'm going to get you some more LGBT content as well, because I owe you some kind of catch-up vlogs about like 11 years on testosterone I haven't done, and I haven't done a catch-up about phalloplasty for a while. So I'm going to try and do some of that this month as well, so you've got some LGBT content. But I do hope you're enjoying the caravan content as well. But yeah, much love to you all from this 50-year-old, middle-aged, haggard-looking man. Love you all. See you soon. Bye-bye.